TEDP Training Part 4 Results Page. Reaching the results page means TEDP has collected sufficient data to determine a system concern and a recommended follow-up interval or time to doctor. Results tab, as you can see, is highlighted. Once you reach this page, there's no turning back to the triage questions. In fact, the Q&A tab has become deactivated. It is now time to move forward to complete the encounter. The Library tab, once you reach the results page, becomes active. The library supports the patient instructions generated by TEDP. As we move forward through the results page, we see the demographics, findings, and values, just as we did during the triage interview. But let's quickly review what's in each component. Demographics includes the chief complaint, the gender, and the age of the caller in TEDP. Complete demographics is found in TRM+. Findings. These are our positive and negative responses as we recorded them during the triage interview. Remember, they are written in physician language, not the question that was read, and this allows rapid review by the medical provider. The positive and negative responses will be included in the final TEDP note in their own section as a positive or a negative response. Values. Any values and measures collected during triage will be recorded here. It also includes the duration of the chief complaint and the pain scale that was selected at the beginning of triage. Now we move forward to the system concern. The system concern, it suggests a condition that will need to be ruled out by the provider, or think of it this way: why the caller is worthy of a medical evaluation by a provider. The triage urgency of the system concern forms the basis for the triage recommendations. You may convey the system concern when appropriate to persuade the caller to follow your recommendations. For example, Mr. Smith, based on what you told me today, you may have a urinary tract infection. That is why I'd like you to follow up in the next 24 hours in the clinic. It's also important to note that system concern is not a diagnosis, and it is not included or recorded in the final TEDP note. Then we move on to our recommendations: the when, the where, and the modifier, and perhaps virtual care. The when. This provides the most appropriate interval for provider follow-up. This is where you as the nurse can up or down triage the caller. The where. The where provides the best location for provider follow-up. You as the nurse can decide the final venue for provider follow-up. Modifier. The modifier is used when you decide to up triage, and it's recommended to use the modifier to justify your up triage actions. The recommendations of when, where, and modifier will be discussed in length in training part 5 of Changing the System Recommendations. Now we move on to the text term, consider virtual care for this veteran. This indicates to you, the nurse, that provider follow-up could be handled by a virtual care provider. Please defer to your VISN leadership regarding virtual care and recommendations for such. We then move on to our predicted resources. Predicted resources provides a listing of common resources the patient is at a higher risk for requiring to evaluate their complaint. Predicted resources can also be used as a reference for selecting the where, the final location for provider follow-up, because you, the nurse, know the available resources within the clinic setting at your facility. The predicted resources will not be included in the final note. It's also recommended not to relay the predicted resources to the caller. We then move on to the patient instructions. Patient instructions provide interim and home care until provider follow-up is complete. These are generated based off of the condition that we selected for symptom triage. It's now time to make the final note in TEDP. Please view training part 7 to learn more.